Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into something pretty huge today.
All right.
Tesla in China. And we're not just talking about selling cars there. We're talking about that gigafactory they built in Shanghai.
It's really wild how fast everything happened.
It is. I mean, think about it. Tesla's stock going through the roof. Elon Musk becoming the world's richest man.
Yeah, a lot of it ties back to that China deal.
It's a story everyone's talking about, but is it really a win-win situation like a lot of folks are saying? That's what we're going to explore. So we've got a bunch of articles, about Elon Musk's vision, China's strategy, and how that gigafactory went up crazy fast.
Plus a few interesting details about a nickname Musk picks up over there.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get to that. But first, let's rewind a little bit. Elon Musk, he's a titan of industry now, right? But was he always like that?
Well, he did always have this big vision, He wanted to solve the energy crisis, disrupt the auto industry, and he thought electric cars were the way to do it.
So he was always thinking big.
But the early days at Tesla, they were a real struggle.
I remember reading about those near bankruptcies.
Twice.
Yeah, in 2008 and then again in 2012.
He was always pushing the limits, risking everything for this vision.
That takes a certain kind of, boldness, let's call it. So while Tesla was fighting to survive, what was happening over in China?
Well, they had their own plans. They wanted to be a leader in electric vehicles, which, when you think about it, makes sense.
Huge market, right. Biggest in the world.
Exactly. But they'd been trying to build up their own domestic car brands for decades, even using policies to protect them.
And how is that working out?
Not so great. Domestic brands just weren't keeping up with the global innovation in the EV space.
So they had this big ambition, but they were stuck, kinda.
Yeah, they realized something had to change. So in 2018, they did something pretty drastic. They allowed foreign car makers to build wholly owned factories in China.
That's a huge shift. I bet Tesla was paying attention.
Oh yeah, they jumped right on that opportunity. And to make it even more attractive, China offered them a ton of incentives.
Like what?
Low interest loans.
Oh, wow.
Fast-tracked approvals. They even helped with infrastructure. They basically rolled out the red carpet.
How much are we talking about here?
Billions. They offered Tesla loans totaling 197.5 billion yuan.
That's a serious commitment.
Yeah.
So Tesla's got the green light, a pile of incentives. What'd they do next?
They went into overdrive.
The Shanghai Gigafactory, right. I've heard it went up insanely fast.
10 months. From breaking ground to actually producing cars.
10 months. That's unheard of.
Yeah, Musk even called it the unwavering warship because it was so vital to meeting those Model 3 production targets. Remember all those pre-orders?
Hundreds of thousands of them. The pressure must have been immense.
Well, the Gigafactory was their answer, potentially producing 500,000 cars a year.
Yeah.
It completely changed Tesla's production capacity.
So it sounds like Tesla got a pretty sweet deal out of all of this. But what exactly did they gain?
Access to the Chinese market, for one, it's huge. And now they could sell cars there without those import barriers.
Makes sense.
Building in China also meant lower production costs. And then, of course, there's that huge jump in production capacity we were talking about.
And what about Tesla's stock? Didn't it go crazy after all this?
Absolutely. The stocks skyrocketed, they were hitting their Model 3 production goals, and they had the success in China. Investors were going wild.
Which, of course, had a huge impact on Elon Musk himself.
Let's just say it made him the world's richest man. And a lot of that wealth came directly from Tesla's success in China.
So yeah, definitely a win for Tesla. But what about China? They were playing the long game here, right? What did they get out of this deal?
Well, for China, it was about more than just those cars rolling off the assembly line. They were after something bigger.
Like what?
They wanted access to Tesla's technology, their expertise in building a global supply chain. They knew that was key to boosting their own EV industry.
So it was a knowledge grab as much as anything.
Exactly. They were basically buying expertise, a chance to catch up and become a leader in the global EV race. And, having Tesla there also put pressure on their own car companies.
Competition is always a good motivator.
Right. It lit a fire under them, made them step up their game and innovate.
This all sounds pretty huge.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of impact this whole Tesla China thing had on other car companies around the world. Did it shake things up?
It sent shockwaves through the industry, for sure. Those big players like Toyota and the European luxury brands suddenly had a serious new competitor.
Tesla was a real threat now.
They were no longer just a niche player, they were a major force. And their success in China showed everyone that the world was moving towards electric vehicles, and fast.
Speaking of that shift, how much does Tesla rely on the Chinese market now?
That's where the term Chinese concept stock comes in. Tesla depends heavily on the Chinese market. And a lot of that is because of the production from that Shanghai Gigafactory.
So their success is tied to China's success.
Absolutely. That partnership took Tesla from being this kind of niche player to a global leader. And that was a huge deal for investors.
Okay, so we've talked about risks, wins, global impact, but there's one more thing. Elon Musk's nickname in China. What is it, and what does it tell us about how they see him over there?
Well, the Chinese social media users started calling him the Silicon Valley Iron Man.
That's kind of perfect, actually. Like he's this larger-than-life figure pushing the limits of tech and innovation.
Exactly. That's how he's seen in China. Ambitious, a risk taker, someone with a vision for the future.
And it's not just about Tesla, it's about him as a person.
Yeah, his personal brand is as important as the cars themselves. He's selling this idea of dreaming big and breaking boundaries.
It's a powerful image for sure. It seems to be working.
No doubt about it. But, before we get too caught up in Elon Musk's superhero image, I think we need to zoom out a bit. What does this whole story tell us about the global economy as a whole?
Well, it's a fascinating shift, isn't it? I mean, for years, China was the world's factory. Making things, sure, but the real innovation, the big ideas, those came from somewhere else.
But now it seems like they want to change that. This whole Tesla deal, it's like a statement.
Absolutely. They're investing a ton of money in research and development. They want their own tech giants, not just to be making things for other people.
They want to be the ones calling the shots, setting the trend.
Exactly. And they're willing to use their economic clout to get there, which, makes you wonder if other companies will start making similar deals.
Just to get a piece of that Chinese market.
It's a huge market, that's for sure. But it's not just about the size. China's becoming a leader in all sorts of key technologies, AI, 5G.
You want to set the standards, not just follow them.
Right. It's a big shift. And it has implications that go way beyond business. This is a geopolitical story as much as anything else. It's about the balance of power in the world.
No doubt about it. But, let's bring it back down to earth a bit. We've talked a lot about Tesla in China. But what does this all mean for the future of electric vehicles themselves?
Well, it seems like Tesla's success, plus China's big push for EV adoption, has really accelerated things.
I think that's fair to say. I mean, look around. More electric cars are hitting the market all the time. Even those big traditional car companies are investing heavily in EVs now.
The writing's on the wall for the gas-powered engine, I think.
Yeah, and China's playing a big part in that.
But it's not all smooth sailing, right? There's got to be some challenges ahead for electric vehicles.
Oh, of course. And like any major technological transition, there are going to be bumps in the road. One of the biggest. Infrastructure. We need a lot more charging stations if we're going to see mass adoption.
Yeah, I've heard those stories about people waiting in line for hours to charge their car.
Not exactly convenient, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
And then there's range anxiety. People are still worried about running out of juice before they reach their destination.
It's a real concern. So we need better batteries that can hold more charge faster, and last longer.
Oh, and they need to be cheaper, too.
Absolutely. Right now, EVs are still pretty expensive compared to gas-powered cars.
I think that's one of the main things holding people back.
It is. But as production scales up and the technology improves, those prices should start to come down.
So it's a combination of things, right? We need better infrastructure, cheaper batteries, and we need to educate people about the benefits of EVs.
You got it. It's not just about building the cars, it's about building this whole ecosystem around them.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of Tesla, China, and the future of electric vehicles. I always learn so much from these conversations.